use their own voices, please welcome to the stage our honored guests today, Lois Price and Thaddeus Spratlen.
First of all, thanks to all of you for being here. It's marvelous to look out on this audience and see folks who've touched our lives in very meaningful kinds of ways since the 1940s. I have a particular person in the audience that I want to recognize. Joe, I want to recognize you, my good friend and classmate in 1940,
Wow.
who was at Hampton, in 1949, who was at Hampton with me. The two of us entered nursing school at Hampton together. We have been friends since then. I was downstairs in the washroom and saw a very small postcard sign that said, 26 girls wanted to go to an officers' ball. I saw that thing on the bulletin board. I said, Joe, please come and go with me to the officers. She said, Price, put my name on there. I put our names on, and absolutely, they sent a bus from Camp Pickett to pick up 26 girls. And so we had on all of our best good, everything that we had that we could wear that looked good on us. And we walked into this room. And officers, keep in mind that even though President Truman had signed this bill saying we're going to desegregate the Army was still segregated in 1952, and I should tell you that things were segregated for a long time. So the first 40 years, no, the first 20 years were really quite serious. And I can't get into all of this, but let me just I want you to know that we went to this officers' ball, and we walked in this beautiful officers' place, and here were all of these black guys standing around the room. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. I want you to know we walked around. And finally, we got to the 25th guy. And the 25th guy said to us, the 26th guy is not going to be here. He won't come to anything like this. He's always studying. But I'll tell him I saw him. And so Joe and I had this wonderful opportunity to be at this officers' ball. And we had a marvelous time. When I got back on the bus, I said, Joe, can you believe that we saw that many handsome black men in this short period of time? She said, Price, settle down. And so I settled down. We went on home, and by golly, the next week, these guys, this guy who Joe had met, and we tried to find him, and we cannot find him, the guy who was with Joe. And so we decided that we would go on about our whatever, and the next week the guys did come to the place where we lived in Richmond. And my supervisor came to me and said, Ms. Price, you have worked every weekend for the past 6 months. I was a work study student. And she said, I want you to have a half day off. So I'm going to give you the remainder of this day, which was Sunday. And she said, you can go, and I'm going to call Shirley Crane, your classmate, back. I should tell you, at our 50th wedding anniversary, Shirley Crane was present. She's now deceased. She got up and said to this assembled group, folks, I have been married 3 times. And I have been married 3 times because Price got my husband. you, when I left the half day to walk across the street to the nursing home, I went into our place and we had French doors, so I could see and hear where these big feet. And I thought, who in heaven's name has feet that big? I said, I am not going in there to see. I'm going to go upstairs. I went upstairs to my room, and Joe said to me, Price, get a shower. The guys are here. I said, what guys? She said, those officers, you know, the two of them are here. And I said, fine. I got myself together as fast as I could and went downstairs, and who did I meet? I met Thaddeus. And you know, I'm still as excited about seeing him today as I was then. And he has absolutely brought me all kinds of joy. And I should tell you that the first 20 years of our marriage was as demanding and as difficult as anything could be. Keep in mind, we're talking 52 to the 1960s. And I want you to know that things were still segregated then. And when Thaddeus and I got married and tried to drive across country with our kids, there were hotels and motels that we couldn't get into. And so we've stayed together because there's so much work to do that we know what we've got to do. And we need all kinds of help. And you've all been helpful to us because we said, if we're going to be on the planet, let's do something while we're here. And we keep on doing it.
Yeah, I just like to say a word or two to both young, old, and between, that in 60 years, as you can imagine, we've come a very long way. Because when on that September 28, 1952 date, there were no Sixth Avenue Inns or Twin Towers of the West End where we could spend the night. And as a matter of fact, on our wedding night, we drove from Charlottesville to Cleveland, where I was to spend we would spend our honeymoon with my sister and her husband Jimmy Lyons. And the rest stop were the side of the road. So it's a great delight, obviously, to be in this wonderful setting and to spend time in the likes of the Westin Hotel some 60 years later. And it's a tribute to what can be as a part of the American dream that we've been fortunate to experience. But I just would like, as a reminder for everyone, that getting here has been a bit of a challenge in many instances and a very long journey. But I'd like to switch just a little bit from us, and we are delighted that all of you are here, and there's so many wonderful tributes and memories, and we'll have an opportunity to continue this. So we've invited you to make this an afternoon of Spratlen, because we will want to continue on with some visiting and other things after even the dancing. But we have in the audience individuals who have an even more remarkable marriage experience. And so I'd like to take just a few minutes to deal with the gold and the diamond, and then I'm not sure what it is with Sterling and Dorothy Miller from our Skyline community. I believe it's 70 years of Dorothy. Would you please stand? Dorothy and Sterling. And there are others who have been married more than 60, because Bob and Mary So would you help me so that we can get through this? For those who've been married for 60 or more years, would you please
Stand and be recognized.
be recognized? People from Richmond, Washington, and their standing would be Warren and Barbara Chapman.
Absolutely.
Those go back from our
Bellingham
Bellingham
days.
days. So we just
Wonderful. And then there's Paul and Margaret Pruitt, and they're here.
part of our peace
Part of our
community.
peace community.
So we just want to say that in our relationships, we certainly have both role models and friends and others who have also enjoyed the many happy years of marriage.
Well, Rick, are your parents, have they been married 50 years? I don't want to ignore anybody who's actually reached those milestones. They're so important. We would also like you to do something. There is a place outside where you can actually be recorded. Anthony's wife is videotaping people. So if you could just step out and be videotaped out there, we'll be able to have this as a part of our record, and we can certainly share it with other people. So please do that before you go.
I'd just like to make one or two other points, because I know we have to yield the podium, but it's certainly reassuring to recognize what a difference from childhood to adulthood can make. The reference there to our taking a stand and protesting, the first flashback that I had was in the mid-1960s, early to mid-1960s, with the build-up in Southeast Asia that ultimately led to the war in Vietnam. And Paris is, you will hear from, at least I believe, from the daughter. But the Harrises, the Wickses, the Spratlens, Rice Spratlens, and a few others were weekly members of the vigil, one of the longest vigils in the nation that started in Bellingham. Well, our children surely must have wondered why the parents would stand on the street corner every Friday, and our second car was a 1931 Model A. So you can imagine that that wasn't so much the cool thing, that was just kind of the kooky, kind of crazy thing. But that was something that they had to sort of grow up with. And so it's reassuring, and we're delighted to hear that they did get beyond all of that and to see that later they could understand that the parents, yes, taking that stand, yes, doing the odd things of driving around in a Model A. Now we're forgiven. But it was a life. So again, I guess that I would sum it up to say that it's a wonderful life when you can combine so much good fortune to outweigh whatever the hardship, the adversity. And we've done this together, and certainly I would look forward to continuing on, maybe to